Hi, I'm Destiny Lavely, and this is my rebuttal for Leslie's debate for euthanasia. So she kind of hit on four different topics. Those were human dignity and rights, the end of suffering and unnecessary pain, the stress, relieving stress from loved ones and caregivers, and the Hippocratic Oath. So, to start, um, she discusses human dignity and rights. So, her kind of point, I think, is that you should be able to die with dignity, and you have the right to choose whether or not you want to die, which is an understandable argument if you are discussing whether or not someone extends their care. So you have the right to choose whether or not you proceed with care. That's kind of the purpose of like a DNR, a do not resuscitate. But if you have the right to actually choose to take your own life is a little bit different. That is considered suicide, and that is, I don't know that there's a medical, legal way that that could be ethical. In my opinion, that's not ethical. It's not ethical for someone to be able to walk into a healthcare facility and choose to die. They don't have to necessarily take the care that is being offered. They don't have to, be on a ventilator or anything like that. But to actually do something knowing that it's going to cause them to die is a little bit different. And I think that that's where that dignity comes in. That's why a lot of people choose to be a DNR, is because they want to preserve that dignity. They want to die when it's time, and not be hooked up to all of this medical equipment, which is perfectly legal and considered ethical. So the end of suffering and unnecessary pain. It's the same kind of thing. It kind of comes down to nature. If it is someone's time to go, they will go. And if they choose to go when that's time without all the medical extras, I guess, then to me that is considered ethical. I mean, it is legal. But to actually do something that is causing them to die, that's a little bit different. That is what would be considered suicide. And then there's the point of the stress on loved ones, which I think is the exact opposite. I think that when you are talking about actually doing something that is causing them to die, whether it be pulling certain medical care or, doing something, as in like giving them a certain medication, I think that that puts more stress on the family, especially if that patient is not coherent. Then that family has to either make the decision, or even if that patient has it in writing that that's what they want, they are going to have a medical power of attorney that has the option to choose. And that's a lot to put on a family member, and that's a lot of stress and a lot of weight that is just unnecessary. No one wants to choose when their loved one dies, and you're putting that stress of a time period on it. So rather than my loved one is sick and I'm going to spend as much time with them as I can, it's my loved one is sick and they are going to die at this particular time on this particular day. I have to do everything prior to that. And that puts a time limit and a huge amount of stress on loved ones, in my opinion. And then the Hippocratic Oath, which does say that you vow to, as a medical professional, you vow to decrease suffering and pain, but it also says that you will do the most good and the least amount of harm, which is the complete opposite of what euthanasia is. If you are doing something to cause someone's life to end, you are actively doing harm and completely missing the point of doing the most good. So that is my opinion. That's my rebuttal. Thank you.